It feels great to see you all participants here on our forum, Law Comrade, for this Child Rights and Wellbeing webinar. So we'll begin the session in a bit. So I think our speaker is ready. Shall we begin? You're not audible, ma'am.
Yes, we can begin, Subramaniam.
All right. So I welcome you all participants to the third webinar in our Law Comrade YouTube channel, webinar series on child rights and well-being. So I'd like to introduce our speaker for the day. So it is my honor to introduce our esteemed speaker for today's webinar on crime against children and their rehabilitation as part of our ongoing webinar series organized by Law Comrade YouTube channel by me, Subramaniam, and Kritika. So, today we have Ms. B.S. Ajeetha, who is not just a seasoned advocate at the Madras High Court. She is a legal luminary whose career is steeped in advocacy, training, and oration. She carries forward the legacy of her father, late advocate P.V. Bhaktavachalam, a trailblazer in the human rights movement in Tamil Nadu, along her husband, advocate J. Saravanavel. Leading a team of dynamic young lawyers, predominantly women, Ms. Ajeetha's law office tackles a diverse range of litigations with a particular focus on cases concerning women, children, and individuals deprived of their rights in several walks of life. With over 3 decades of legal practice, Ms. Ajeetha has participated in numerous international and national conferences and seminars championing rights of women and marginalized communities. She has served on pivotal committees, including the Government of Tamil Nadu's initiative to eradicate child marriage and the drafting committee of LGBT plus policies. Her appointment as an external member by the National Commission for Scheduled Castes underscores her commitment to addressing social justice issues. Her contributions extend beyond advocacy to education and empowerment as well. She authored the handbook on the protection of women from Domestic Violence Act 2005, published in collaboration with UNICEF, and she has also authored numerous articles on women and child rights in the Hindu Tamil edition newspaper. We extend our sincere appreciation to Ms. B.S. Ajeetha for her continued participation on our Law Comrade YouTube channel. Previously, she has shared her expertise in our workshop on LGBT rights and also in our one full day workshop on career opportunities in law, in which she spoke about family law as a career practice. So please join me in extending a warm welcome to Ms. B.S. Ajeetha, whose expertise and dedication continue to shape legal discourse and safeguard the rights of the most vulnerable in our society. Over to you.
Thank you, Subramaniam. I'm very glad to be here again with you in this YouTube channel, which is run by you in the name of Law Comrade. And I'm also extending my evening greetings for all the viewers here. The topic is very interesting. Actually, the broad topic is about the child rights and well-being. So a person can have their real well-being only if their rights are protected. And there is a special reference also given that crimes against children and their rehabilitation. So we speak about the crimes and the punishments and the sanctions, the institutions and its implementation and how it works, the legal framework and all that. But here the topic is also about the rehabilitation. So it gains momentum only when we start looking a case as a person who is involved in it. So if there is a crime against children or a crime committed by a child, then there is a person, a child involved in it. either as a victim or sometimes when the child is in conflict with law as a child who is the perpetrator. So when we see the particular case of a human being behind any legal papers or a case, only then we will be able to see the aspect of rehab for the person concerned. So when you see the state, they will only see how to bring down the rate of crime, how to protect the children, how to do all these things. But as a lawyer or an activist or a person who's interested in taking forward the entire system being giving out the talking about or protecting them from the violence and violations or exploitations against them, only then we can understand the entire system is for the particular individual, as the constitution has promised for every individual that their fundamental rights are seen, that it is not abrogated, it is not violated. So the very meaning of the constitution and its existence and its progress and its dynamic development rests upon how we deal with the people who are deprived of their rights, especially the children. We are more concerned because two things. One, they are most of the times they are voiceless and they are dependent, and they think this society is going to protect them from the time when they are born in the society. When the entire society or their smaller unit of their society is committing violence against them, exploiting them, not giving them enough care or not giving them an access to opportunity, then where will the children go? Whom they will speak to? Who's responsible for bringing back their life into them? So these are all the larger questions when we speak about the rights of the child and their well-being. So let us see from the source of the rights of the children, from where it is being protected, from what is the authority from which it is being protected. So I think we can go from CRC, Child Rights Convention, which has been introduced in United Nations in 89, and in 92, India has ratified CRC. So there is no reservation, and India said that we will try to do everything possible for making the child rights work in our country. Especially, they very specifically say that the Article 24 of the CRC, 19 of the CRC calls for every state shall take all legislative, administrative, social, educational measures for protecting the child from all forms of physical and mental violence, injury, abuse, exploitation, and maltreatment. So, a state organization, a state party is ratifying means he is it's giving its commitment to the international community that as a state, as a responsible person, they will protect each and every child in their society from all these things, from maltreatment, from exploitation, from being violated, from all these aspects. So when India is committed to say that we are here to change all these aspects of government machinery, institutions, system, and a framework for taking the people who are against the children and their rights to task, and also give the children the required institutions for the development, education, and to have their childhood with the right to development. So this is the commitment state has given to children of India. But it's very unfortunate and it is a very harsh reality that the children and their rights are being violated, and it is very widespread, and it is taking place in all settings. All setting in the sense like in the home, in society, that is in the community level, in the child care institutions, and in the institutions that has been set up or part of judiciary to deal with the crimes against children or to deal with the children who are in conflict with law. So much to be desired in all these aspects where the abuse and exploitation and violence is taking place in every part of their life, in every stage, by each and every setting. So when we are very concerned about all these things, then what is the available framework in India is the next question. So we can say there is four core laws, major laws, that is talking about and dealing with the rights of children and their violation. The first one we can say is Juvenile Justice Act, Care and Protection Act it is. And the JJ Act is in the 2000 and later it is amended to 2015. Lots of aspects have come. We will delve into it a little later. The second one is Prohibition of Child Marriage Act. The child marriage is one of the major violence that is being perpetrated by the families, by their own parents, kith and kin, and other people to push the children into marriage, and the violence is very, very severe. And the impact of it, the consequence of it is lifelong, and the children are really suffering so many violences only because of marriage. That is physical, mental abuse, and their alienation from the childhood rights of having a time to play and having their right to development, having a right for entertainment and being with the family. All four core rights are being simply taken away, abrogated, just by the children are given into marriage. The third law we can say is Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act, which all of us know, that is POXO Act, which has come in the year 2012 and amended in 2019 also. So the last one I would say is, it's very important also, the labor law, the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986, that has been amended in 2016. So these four laws, they speak about the child rights and their well-being. So in India, we have actually a very fairly a comprehensive policy that is there in place. And the policy also goes for implementation. And they are addressing several issues like protecting the rights and also addressing the crime against children and also the children who are in conflict with law. So in the process, how children to be dealt with even if they are in conflict with law is the major aspect, which the society sees the children not as a criminals but as a persons with certain issues and problems that is caused by the socio-economic factors, mainly by poverty, unemployment, homelessness, and the political will, this absence of political will, and also the corruption and other aspects that is eroded and corroded the institutions of which has to protect the children. So when all these aspects are there, and it's very it's true that even millions of children are facing violence each and every day in India. We have to understand that every act is being implemented. At the same time, when we see the data, which is mainly in the ncrb.nic.in, there are several headings and various topics or the nomenclature under which the violence against children or their violation of rights of children are being addressed. But that is not complete. That is not everything at all. And most of the time, the data are very incomplete, or it is based upon the reporting of the cases. Especially when it is violence against children, be it an abuse within the home or in the school, educational institutions, or it is in the society at large, like cyberbullying or the online violences, and all these things. The data is only speaking about the reported cases, only based on cases that are reported. So needless to say that very minuscule percentage of actual violence against children are being reported. So the problem is far larger than what we know and what we think of it. Then comes the institution like childcare institutions to deal with the children of two classifications. One is the children who are in need of care and protection, say abandoned children, orphaned, uh, children who are without any parents, or these kind of children, or the children who are in the streets, who have been runaway children from the homes and other people. That is also one aspect where the childcare institutions give them the protection. So when these institutions are not understanding, or the policy is not in a comprehensively understandable manner, or they are not reflecting the core values of CRC, then the problem of the children becomes multiplied, and it's very complex. And when we speak about the marriage, the Child Marriage Prohibition Act, One second, excuse me. I'll just have to increase my lighting system. Yes. So when we speak about the other childcare institutions, it's much to be desired because recently retired Justice K. Chandru was appointed as a one-man committee by the government of Tamil Nadu to visit and see and give a report about the childcare institutions. It was very shocking, and it was about 400-page report, which had stated that there are violence and crimes that is taking place against the children within the CCIs, childcare institutions. There are several childcare institutions where the basic requirement of first aid box or enough nutritious food or the place of stay and other things are not there. And because there are institutions which is without protection, there were children were sexually violated within the care home by the third parties who can just jump into and come inside. So this is only an example for you to say to understand the gravity of the situation. You should have all known there was a child who was by name Gokul Shri. He was murdered by the staff of the childcare institution, or we can say like this: the Gokul Shri, who is 17 years old, he has been put into a special home after conviction for a theft charges. Here, the three persons of the staff of the special home were arrested on the charges of murder after FIR has been filed, after a very big struggle has been taken up. And I'm also dealing with that case with regard to the what has happened in the institution and how immediately within the same night the people who were responsible for it were transferred, and why they were transferred without even being allowed to be facing the inquiry and investigation of the police authority, etc. So when India has got a very comprehensive and fair policy and laws are there, the implementation is a very big problem all over, like any other law. When we see that millions of children suffer lots of violence, and in a several groups of society, especially when we see that socially very backward communities, or the people who are not in the situation and they don't have the access to education, access to justice system, access to an employment or an earning capacity or an opportunity is there, the children of those families are exposed to more violence. And needless to say, when we come to POXO, even in the National Family Health Survey in 2019 and 21 records, they show that almost 1.5 women in the age group of 19 and 24, they say they have been sexually violated when they were below 18 years. So in throughout India, this is a national survey of Indian government approved data, which says about 1.5% of women, they say that they have been sexually violated. So you imagine the number of women that they would have, girl children, they would have exposed to this kind of a thing. And most of the cases, one more organization by name Tulur, who is working in Tamil Nadu, they're working for children after sexual violence, and they're working for rehabilitation. They say about 70% of the perpetrators are in the close quarters are known to the children. So from where the children are getting their perpetrators is from their own family circles, from their known people, from their acquaintances, from their teachers, or from the institutions or the places where they regularly visit and they are living there. So when their own community and their own families, their own schools, their own institutions become so dangerous for the children, where will the children go? How to deal with this problem? Then we will see that about it little later. So all forms of abuses and exploitative in nature, whatever has happened for a child, it has got a lifelong consequence on a child. Recently, I met a psychologist who spoke about a lady who is about 70 years old, had come for a chronic depression, and she has been speaking about her problems. And she is trying to deal with her problem and addressing the chronic depression that has caused several other health issues, both physically and mentally also. When she started dealing with it, she said, you can also listen to my sister who's there with me, next to me. Now I don't have my husband or children with me and all that. When the sister came, she spoke about how she was sexually abused by the same person who had abused her elder sister. The elder sister had just called her to say that she is the only support system. And this second sister also says how the other two sisters are also, they are living in a group, or they are the solace for the other person. And when the other two sisters speak to her, she finds some kind of counseling, and she feels very relaxed and all that. So the counselor calls the other two sisters one by one, and the other two sisters also speak about various forms of very serious penetrative sexual assault by the same person, about which the first sister or the second sister have not told them till now. The first sister is 70 plus. The last sister is 65 plus or 62 plus. You imagine now how the children's world or their life will be when there is no spaces for them to open up and speak. I'm speaking about women who are 65 plus and 70 plus. So the entire life, what would have been the impact of the sexual abuses for those women is for you to understand and to think about it. And you can just think for 2 minutes and you will understand it. So when women cannot speak about it for 70 long years, imagine a child who is less than 18 years. Who is listening to them? Who will believe them? Who will give them a solace that how the child will believe the person to say about all these things, when most of the time in our culture, children are told, keep quiet, keep your mouth shut, don't talk too much. Don't try to find fault with your own father. Don't criticize your own people. And we are elders. Elders are equal to God. In Tamil Nadu, in Tamil, there is a saying. I hope and definitely believe that in every language, in every ethnic culture, there will be a same saying. பெரியவங்க சொன்னா பெருமாள் சொன்ன மாதிரி. That means if something is told by an elderly person, it is like a word from the God. This is the meaning of the proverb. So this kind of proverbial saying and other cultural values that has been infused to each and every child's mind is so detrimental for them, and it is making them defenseless when they are undergoing these kind of violences. So the culture in the families, be it whatever religion, the caste, subset and all that, across the class, across the caste, every in vertical and horizontal denominations, the children are the sufferers in many aspects. So when we see about the very rich and educated or the upper middle class, which we speak about a lot and which we identify our own upbringing and our well-being day-to-day life with those communities, that is lower middle, upper middle and middle class and all that, there they say always the children have to just listen to the parents. Not only that, they say you obey my commands and take highest marks. And without that, above beyond the school and their grades and their marks, most of the families, they don't have anything to converse with them. That is because they want to make their children in the race of this rat race of this society to get into a very big job and get uh, employed and get a salary of in 6 digits. So their only aim is that. So when we speak about JJ Act, we'll now go by one the acts which and very important aspects that I want to highlight. In JJ Act, there are two aspects. Recently amended JJ Act says the crimes are differentiated as petty crimes, serious crimes, and heinous crimes. When it comes to heinous crimes, petty crimes are less than 3 years of maximum punishment. And serious crimes are the offenses which calls for a punishment from 3 years to 7 years. The heinous offenses are which carries a maximum punishment of more than 7 years, minimum punishment of more than 7 years. So it says when a child is a perpetrator or a child is in conflict with law, if the child is charged with an offense, if it's a heinous offense, then the Act section 15 has been introduced. It says that the child will be produced before the CCB, JJB, Juvenile Justice Board, and they will decide about the child and its understanding, its capacity to know the consequences and impact of the crime. And then they will decide, as per 18.3, whether the case will be dealt or the trial will be held as if it has been committed by an adult. So the law is amended against the children to say that if the child is more than 16 years, if the crime is heinous, if the board decides, then the child will not be a child and child will be considered as an adult. In a society like ours, where there is poverty is still there, where there is unemployment is there, where there is an urban population and a migrant worker population is there, the haves and have-nots and the differences between the same community, the wealth of the community is not distributed in a reasonable manner. When children are pushed into several other wants and needs by the constant commercialization of the entire society, when the children commit some mistake, the law says that it has to be very stringent and they have to be put behind bars, not as a child, but as an adult. So who is responsible for the child to commit that offense? Why the child did not go to school? Why the child is introduced to commit the offense with other crime committing gang or a group or the adults? Where the child's family has gone, where the child's community has gone, where the child's entertainment time, education, and leisure and its development are to participate, to take decisions in his life has gone. So when we are not able to provide the 4 basic core rights of the CRC rights, or which is already embodied in our constitution, we are not able to provide them. How can a society have a stringent laws to say that the law has to be very, very strong and the enforcement is very weak and other things? From the knee-jerk reaction of Nirbhaya case. In the Nirbhaya case, there's one accused who is less than 18 years old. When he was treated as a juvenile, and his punishment was about 3 years. And the Juvenile Justice Act and the entire criminal law says that the people for whom the criminal justice system is rendering a conviction or punishment is only for a reformation, not for punishing them or not for condemning them to not to be a human being or not to be loved by any others. So when the entire criminal justice system for the adult people, when the criminals also, we have a system of reformatory ideology, how can there be a Juvenile Justice Act can be amended in a country like ours to put the children to be treated as an adult when they think it's an heinous offense? We know there are certain cases where mostly they're using the children or the adolescent children of 16 to 18 as hirelings. So they are employed by the people. And we know Justice Verma Commission's report. There is a very strong nexus between the police and the criminal gangs and groups. Every crime has got connection till the police department. So the entire criminals put into a group and the entire community is put into another group. The entire community as a criminals or they committed crime and it has been proved also, they have so much of nexus with the police, not with the community. So when this is the truth and this is now we are having a new parliament in which 39% of the elected members of the parliament have very serious offenses and charges against them, FIR against them, like murder, like rape, and like robbery, dacoity, and all that. So when the society is having shredded in several aspects, and when the haves and rich and the powerful and the political people are having nexus with the criminals, and the system of enforcement of law is very, very partial, and it is not equal to the people who are not having money and for the richest of the rich in this country, do we need to make our laws more stronger and more harsher towards the children? So this is the aspect which we have to ponder over in future, because when we are not able to provide, we cannot only condemn them to prisons, that too considering them as an adults. When they have been stolen by their childhood, how are they responsible for becoming people who are less deprived and committing violence against their own fellow men? So this is an aspect I want to highlight in JJ. Second one is Prohibition of Child Marriages Act. When the Child Marriages Act come into play, like The last mile population of every state. Tamil Nadu is one of the most developed state in many aspects, and we are the second in education and first in certain many of the aspects. But even here in Tamil Nadu, we have so many cases of child marriages. And in India, you have to know that both men, boys, and girls are pushed into marriage when they are children. But the instances of the girl child getting into marriage is very, very high compared to that. In the period of Corona, we know one district called Virudhunagar district is number one in the education. There, in one particular government school, there were about 18 dropouts from the class 11 to class 12. Soon after the lockdown and other things were lifted, the schools and the headmasters and the educational authorities were given a mandate to visit the children who have been dropped out. It was very, very surprising and shocking that 49 students of that particular batch of about 350 students of class 11, who should be 11, 16 years or 17 or 15 sometimes, 49 of them got married in that time of the corona period, in the lockdown period. Then the question is why at all? Why the parents have become so much? Why so bad? Or why are they pushing into the marriage? The answer was one of the very, very revealing thing came out of this thing was the home, the facility of the house. There is no housing for a 4-member family in the community. They don't have enough space. They are living in 100, 120, 180 square meters, square feet house, where the mother herself is 30 years or 31, the father is 35, 36. The mother would have given birth to a child when she was 16. So the father and mother, when they need their privacy, the father and the boys can sleep outside the house, the girls are inside. Then they say that no, girls cannot be there with us, along with us, when we are living in this house. So let the girl be given into the marriage. So the housing problem has got directly proportionate to the number of child marriages in India. So the housing is a very big issue. You know, the central government, which is now ruling, the same government which was there, when President of America came from USA to visit India in Gujarat, they just built a wall to not to show the shanties or for the slums that has been there and the poor people. That means the poverty and people who are not having enough house are there and they're living in these slums. Slums in the sense there's only one single roof. We know the largest slum of the world is our Mumbai slum. I'm not able to get the name immediately. Sometimes Dharavi slum. So there it is 60 to 70 square feet house. Where will the parents go? You know, the youngest grandmother in Tamil Nadu, one of my colleague officer asked me, what will be the age of youngest grandmother of Tamil Nadu? Then all of us were saying 40, 45, 42 years old grandmother. She said 31-year-old lady is the youngest grandmother of Tamil Nadu. That means she has given birth for a child in the age of 15. Her daughter is married at the age of 15. She has given birth in her 16th year. So this lady has become grandmother at the age of 31. Why I'm giving this example is to understand the problem and its severity and how deep it has gone to the society and how severe it is. And we are all speaking about so many laws, the institutions and the amendments and other things, but we are far from the reality and we are not with the people who are really suffering for their next food, next meal, when they are working very hard. They are laborers, they are workers, they are migrant workers, or they are housemates in several other capacities. So when we speak about the tribal areas and other places, we know that the schools are not there in place in every 3 kilometers or 5 kilometers or 6 kilometers. We are talking about the new educational policy, which says that if a dropout will also be considered, if they're not able to study after 4th standard, they can be given vocational training. She can become a mason, she can become a tailor, the boy can become a carpenter. So they are clearly planning to make one complete class of people, a majority of the people, as a worker to sustain the society in a different way. because they don't want everyone to get educated. They don't want everyone to have their say in AI or in any other data science or any other law, any other new science or inventions that's going to come. They're having a fear that the India cannot go like this. So the policy has got a very big dent in every aspect. So we have to see the criminal justice system and the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act and its implementation in that light. So UNICEF in the year 2021 has told that they've given a report saying 43% of Indian marriages are child marriages. When we are having some kind of allergic reactions to not to listen to UN or UNICEF, then I'll have to quote only the NFHS, National Family Health Survey, which says that in 2019 and 21 report, every fourth girl of the age of 20 to 24 in India is found to be married before 18 years of her age. That is presently, that is in the year 2019 and 21, every fourth girl in India who was in the age group of 20 and 24 was married when she was less than 18. So at least Indian government is recognizing that 25% of the marriages were child marriage. Not long before, not two decades before. It was in the year 2019. So when they were 20 and 24, it should have been 2017 and 16. There were about 25% of marriage in India is child marriage. So when the child goes into marriage, naturally it's a license to have sexual relationship, and she's being violated, and she'll be raped day after day. And if she's denying, it is no questions asked. Marital rape is not a crime in India. And she will have infections, all sorts of problems in her uterus. Uterus is underdeveloped in the age of 16 or 17. And the child will be less capable of sustaining and living after 1 year or after 5 years. And child will be begetting another child. This child needs entertainment and other leisure time for development and leisure and education, but she will have a child. She'll be beaten up for not doing the work. She'll be beaten up for listening to songs and watching TV. She's a child already, but she needs all that. So domestic violence come into play, and the violence and continuously violence in the houses and families are considered as a private affair. There is no state law which will take domestic violence as a crime. Still, it is a civil wrong, because we say that I want life and I don't want violence means then she can go for DVC, the domestic violence cases. How difficult it is to get any order is every lawyer in this group will know if they are practicing on that side. In 95% of cases, no ex parte orders are given against violence. The perpetrator is being called and the girl will be asked to go for counseling and other things. So there's a problem again. So this is the third law that I'll have to speak about: Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. We are protecting our children. At the same time, the courts and other institutions of investigation machinery, they take longer time. And even for sexual harassment, there are three types of violence. There are three types of offences in POCSO Act. That is sexual offense and penetrative sexual assault, and sexual harassment. It is so pathetic in certain cases where even sexual harassment is complained. Sexual harassment is not even touching; it is only grooming and following, and it is stalking and several other things comes into it. There is no physical proximity or an assault or touch or anything. Even for those cases, the children are being sent to medical examination where they will have to be there for 2 days or 3 days. There is no very specially trained juvenile justice police unit, SJPU, which is expected to be there in the act. So we can go about this act very quickly. We can go. I don't want to go about the introduction of act. It has come into play in 2012, and the parents and caregivers are also taken into the previous thing. Previous slide, please. Next. Yeah. There are very special law. This one is very special law, but this very welcome law, because there was no provision in India to deal with the child sexual offences at all till 2012. So this has been given on the day of Children's Day, November 14th, as a biggest gift ever for the independent India after 67th year or so. So this is the onus of the burden of proof is on the accused in this case. The presumption of guilt, presumption of his guilt is there in the section 29 of this act, and it is in the favor of victim. The presumption is against the accused, and it is dealt by special court, and procedure is very special, and special police unit is employed. At least they should be without their uniforms. They cannot be asking the questions which they normally do, like as if they are doubting the veracity of the very complaint itself. They have to stand by the child and all that. And there is a provision where it says mandate.
Your voice is not audible.
Yeah, there seems to be a connection issue. Participants are requested to wait for a bit. She will reconnect and join back. Kindly wait. Thank you.
Yes. So there is a mandatory reporting provision is there. Though it is good and correct in one aspect, the other one is there's a very serious problem which is posed here when there are love cases, when the girl will be consensually having sex with her boyfriend. But whether this girl is accepting or not, he will be put behind bars and he can be imprisoned for 10 years. In our system, which is very clearly, it is corrupt, and also it is very biased, and people who are having caste wise or the any other influence, or they are superior and they are domineering caste of that particular locality, if it is a girl side, the boy can be condemned to prison for 10 years. There were cases in High Court of Madras, at least 3 or 4 judgments I've read and I've seen. Justice Parthiban and Justice Jagdish Chandra and Justice Ilantarayan's orders were there, which stated that the girl has given a statement saying that it is my interest and my liking towards the boy. We had sex consensually, and I did not report it only through somebody, through my friend or somebody to whom I shared this. They have reported it, and now this boy is kept inside in spite of me telling that I insisted for sex or something to this effect. So the child, the boy will also be 17 years or 18 years or 19. So here the society is seeing the girl child, and she doesn't have any right to say on this, even when this act has come into play. Before it has been notified, there was widespread discussions all over India. Even in Tamil Nadu, it has taken place. Even I was also part of it in the discussion before, when the Ministry of Law and Justice has circulated this draft. Then we said very clearly there should be a cases of love cases or 16 to 18 when they have a sexual exploration kind of interest is very, very common all over the world, and it is very common for any human being. Those aspects of sexual exploration or their interest or their consensual sexual encounters should not be dubbed as a serious offense and a crime. This was not accepted, stating that no, every child in India is a child. This is CRC. Then we have to, the activist also, the even who was working for the child rights also have to bow down for that laudable idea of considering every person under 18 as a child. Then we go to the Labor Act and the labor laws, which says even from the Constitution, the children less than 14 years shall not be employed in factory or mine or hazardous employment. That means they can be employed. So when the children are from the very poor families, when the parents cannot afford them education, when the affordable education in government institutions are very, very bad, there are no teachers, there's no classroom, there's no blackboards, whatever, and these children are working in their family, in the cottage industries, BD rolling or something else, or their own in cracker industries of the cottage sites. In all these places, the law doesn't come into place. Then they say that 16 to 18 they can work as an young adult, even in the commercial establishments or in the any other service industries, or in the employment in certain industries of construction and other places. Many children do not have their birth certificates. When these children are taken, which law enforcing authority comes and says this? No, no, they're 18 years and the contractor and the builder or these people are being punished. Yes, they are being punished and there will be a routine number of cases. And again, they will be committing it, then the law doesn't say it because it's not possible. Let's go to the next slide. And one of the most important aspects is this is gender neutral. Because the sexual abuses or a penetrative sexual assault for male children is most of the time ignored and it is not believed. And even in Tamil Nadu, there was a case where the children were taken in suspicion that they committed theft. The policemen indulged in sexual crime against the children who were being taken into custody by them. So many times the sexual offense against male children are it's denied or it is unbelieved or it is not coming into light. So when we lawyers or people around us, we have to talk about this and we have to understand that that is rampant and it is happening everywhere. Next slide, please. So when it is sexual harassment is punishable also by IPC, but it is a POXO. It is very, very severe because we should know that in 2019 it has been amended. For a penetrative sexual assault, it is 20 years minimum punishment if the child is less than 12 years. If the child is in the watch and ward of that particular person. Like example, if it's a police officer or an armed force person or a teacher or an hospital setup in a doctor or a caregiver or their own parents, these kind of sexual penetrative assaults seen as a very, very serious one, and the punishment has been enhanced. Most of the time when the enhancement of punishment is given, the less possibility is there, less opportunity is there, the conviction rate is higher. Because the more the punishment, the more the coaxing or coercing or the corrupt practices are brought in. And there is no clinics or anything to speak about why these perpetrators are doing such acts and how to speak out about all these things. The children doesn't have space to speak out. When it is parents, it's a taboo. They don't speak about sex. They don't speak about sexual assault. They don't speak about the peer group problems, what has been happening around in the society or what is being reported in the papers. When it is there in the news item, then they immediately switch off the TV or they don't allow the children, the young adult children, to see even the news. So there is a very strong cultural or kind of a practice which put the children away from certain topics which they ought to know and which they have to be aware of. So the awareness in the family level, awareness in the school level, awareness in the society's level is very, very, very low. It's abysmal. When there is a subject or there is a curriculum or syllabus speaking about these cases, most of the time it is not allowed and teachers don't teach about it. They can say from page 18 to 21 you can read. So now this is changing. A lot of changes are taking place. But still sex education is unacceptable in the idea of the NCERT also and also in other state government policies. So let's go to the next one. Next slide, please. Next slide can be posted here. Subramaniam, kindly help me to bring the next slide on.
Schools and educational institutions, or
No, is the slide is not seen here in the screen? Slide is not there.
you're not able to view it?
Yeah, I'm not able to view it.
It's visible, ma'am. It's visible.
It's
One
visible.
second. Well, I'll stop sharing and then share again.
Yeah. Yeah. Now
Can
it's
you see it?
visible.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see that. Okay. So in the schools and educational institutions also, now in Tamil Nadu, there is a school management committees have been set up, and counselor for every school is mandatory one, and they have to speak about the awareness from the class 9 to class 12. And I'm completely not unacceptable idea to speak only from the class 9 to class 12, because most of the sexual abuses are happening for the children who are 9 and 10 and 11 before they could understand what is happening to them. So it has to start from class 6, and that should be the endeavor of every educational authorities to make the children know and understand in the simple language with which they can be aware of. So it is to understand and educate the teaching and non-teaching staff about POXO Act itself is a big challenge. So now there are groups of trainers that has been they have been recognized by Tamil Nadu government to go to schools and train the teachers and staff, which is happening for the past more than 2 years here. And still, when there is a problem in the school or the child is reporting about a sexual harassment from any quarters, they immediately indulge in talking about it and trying to brush it under the carpet for upkeep of the name of and pride of the school and pride of the family and the name of the parents and their ignominy that they're afraid of, that might go in the society or in their peer group. So the idea of addressing the sexual offenses against children itself is very skewed. When there is a sexual assault or an harassment against a child, the parents and other people want to keep silent. They don't want to bring it up. Now the reporting has exponentially increased, but still there are several child rights movement. They say that this is not even 10% of actual happening, because in the village level or in the rural side, in an urban side, in everywhere, when there is a sexual offense, the first idea is to make it all right and to speak about it, not to speak about it by either coercing them or by bribing them or by telling that your child's future is in a problem, and she will have an insult and ignominy throughout her life, and everybody will identify her as an object of sex, and all these misgivings are continuously being given, and we have to think how to make the society speak about it when it is happening to them and their own family and friends. When it is outside, when it is in the papers, they express their anger and frustration, but they don't deal with it when it happening in their close quarters. This is the irony of dealing with this sexual offenses against children. Next slide, please.
Yes, ma'am.
And we can also share the slides for our group, and so that they can see also later, and we can
Sure.
go a little faster. Yeah.
I've changed the slide. Can you see it?
Yes, parents and caregivers. Yes,
Yeah.
this is what I've just spoken about. And the children have to be taught about my body, my right. And they are not even given an idea only about the good touch, bad touch of those days. And they say that if it is by this person, it is okay, kind of things will come up. But it has to be from the point of view of the child, not from the point of view of the other person. So good touch, bad touch it is from the perpetrator's side. For me, it is my body, my right, means if I feel that it is inappropriate, it is inappropriate, whether it is good or bad. So then the child goes into a confusion. Many children, many times when I see the parents, when I assist the prosecution, when such cases are happening, then the child goes into confusion whether what she's speaking is right or wrong. Many times the child is gaslighted and she is put into a guilt trip. saying that you spoke like this, you behaved like this, you were quiet all these times, you were keeping mum, you allowed him to cross the limits, your personal boundaries are very bad, kind of thing. So the children from their young age has to be taught about what is her body and what is her right. And at least they have to be, not at least, that is the important thing, that they have to open up and say, my body, my right. So it is not the mother, it is not the other person, it is not the elder who has to say. So many times they used to say, the children are very haughty, they are not disciplined, they are not obedient. Obedience is not required at all in any place. The obedience is the thing which is not required for a child. It has to be assertion for the correct things, right thing. So the obedience and talking about the problems becomes it's in crossroads. So when they're talking against the persons, or they're answering back, then it's saying talking back. You're back talking at me. You're answering me back. You're right away snapping me with your answers. So the whole idea of teaching the children is in a very big problem, and it has to be fixed immediately. Next slide. When I'm talking about all these things happening in the educated, or comparatively having all the facilities and children studying in good schools, middle and lower middle, upper class families, imagine the plight of the children coming from very, very poor and daily wages laborers families. Their setup, their peer group to speak about it, and their mentors and their teachers and their school system and all that. So we need teachers and mentors to be very clear about this, and it is state's responsibility to create a very big army of teachers and mentors to speak to and protect the children even before certain things happen. It is only the first thing is awareness. Whether our children are aware about all these things is a big question. And I am talking only about the 80% of the children who are in the poor communities and who are in the rural setup. Not only in the 20% of urban children. Even they are not aware of all these things. Next slide, please. And doctors and counselors, we know that the child's well-being has to be checked, which many times we miss. And the children, in a case in Tamil Nadu, it has come after the child was abused by about 14 people in a period of 1 year, because mother had mental health issues, father was not here, he was away. And when they understood the child is mentally sick and she's not capable of articulating the problem, one after other, many people abuse the child. So that is the very famous infamous Ainaavaram case we all know in Tamil Nadu. So when the child was taken to doctor, they said that the child has to play, she has to speak up, she has to open up. And the child has been taken for counseling more than twice or thrice, even before these things have come out. And she has only confided to her cousin sister later. So even doctors and counselors have to be aware of, and they have to be very sharp enough to pick up certain things, symptoms of the children when they are being abused, or when they are in the danger, or in their threat of abuse and other things. The next one, please. And media, definitely, they have a role. But when the society at large, when the educational system, when policing and the investigation and the health departments are all not sensitive enough, we can't expect the media alone be sensitive. And when media cannot be a preacher or do anything. So definitely when the state authorities are very keen in bringing up all these things, then it is possible to implement and see to that anything which is against or not giving proper perspective for these kind of problems can be brought into books, and they can be asked by the PTI, like, or asked by the other authorities who are informing when these matters in a, or where they are reporting these matters in an inappropriate manner. Now the sensitization has come to a level where they don't reveal the name, they don't reveal the pictures. But for the recent past also it's happening. I don't know about north and other places of India, whether the victim children are being shown, and the sympathies are pouring in, people say that we are with you, kind of. It's very unfortunate. We know even Asifa's name is known to all of us in a case where Asifa is only 8 years old. and the pictures were there all around in the media. If the police is following the rule of law, if the states are very keen about all these things, they know and they understand the letter and spirit of the act. If there are about 1,000 cases filed against each and every media in India under 228 CRPC for disclosing the picture and the name and identity of the victim child, then it would have been a big change. When state is not strong enough, when the society is not so much aware of, the media will be insensitive and it will continue to be also. So we are all having these kind of things. Even I used to call and speak to the editor or write letter immediately or send an email immediately. Whenever I see certain expressions about the child, they will say a child in this area who's studying in the school next to, everyone will know there is a child in that particular school because in that area there's only one school, kind of things. And they will show the apartment complex from where the things have happened. They will show the road in the TV media. So we have to be very strong, and I'll have to say that very strong civil society can bring about the change when it is insensitive media and other things are happening around us. Next, please. So this is the all the aspects that has been spoken by me and shared by me is covered in all these 7 aspects. So when we have to protect our children around us, especially in our when the children are being committed offenses by their own known people, the perpetrators are from their close circles and acquaintances, then the 7 aspects, the 7 strategy, which is to end violence against children, is inspire. I is for implementation and enforcement of laws. N for norms and values have to be fixed in every place, within the family, within the institutions of school and other CCIs and other places. And INS is safe environment. We have to protect the environment in such a manner by having CCTV cameras and other aspects, which will really say that even if anything is happening, then the issues can be addressed and there can be some redressal. So the 4th one is parent and caregiver support, which we have seen, and they have to be given idea and enlightened about the aspects of my body, my right concept first, and then the law. Last one is the 5th one is income and economic strengthening. When we have a very big community of people with poverty and an unemployment, without homes, the homeless children, homeless families, then definitely these things are going to happen. So there's a state responsibility also, and that is the main responsibility of making the society more egalitarian. And respond and support services. When the child or anyone is affected or we know about the perpetrator, what is the immediate numbers that has to be called and other things. We know very saddened to know that 1098 they're going to abolish. They're not going to continue it any further. They want to make it in a state level once. And even in Tamil Nadu also now they started giving 181. So the 1098 was such a number. When we know we have to strengthen our support system and services, the government is reducing their strength and they are not giving enough support because they are concentrating in all other aspects, and the child rights and their well-being is given a go by. And education and life skills, which is very, very important for every child to become aware and to articulate and be vocal and to stay strong when they're having and they're encountering such violences, and when they're going to institutions to say that no, I am very strong and I am clear, I can do this and all that. So the inspire is the 7 pronged strategy, which is from the state and state authority till the parents and to the child herself or himself to become more stronger to deal with all these aspects of violence against them. So let me come to the last aspect of Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act. There are several laws which says that under 12 they can't be in certain employment, under 14 and 16 to 18 apprentices. And when the children are getting married and below the age of 18, they do lots of domestic work. And the problem of labor within the cottage industries of family is a very big challenge because it's a complex in nature. The school is not giving them any kind of hope that they will get their 3 meals. And also after 10th standard, after 12th standard, the children and their opportunity or access to skill learning and other things and good employment is not there. The parents will not have the courage and their motivation to send the children to school at all. So they see generations after generations, at least every 10 years, they see that the boys who have gone to the school till 10th standard or plus 2 or even completed their graduation are not getting employed. We know for employment, for a peon or a record clerk, even B students are applying all over India. So unemployment is a very big issue. And so we are in a situation where we can't say your child cannot be taken to your fields or an agricultural assistance labor by you when the family is not having enough money or provision for the 3-day meal. When the school is providing only for the food, it is not comprehensive. Then again, after plus 2, after their college levels, they have to become the daily wage laborers. So these are all the issues. And child labor Prohibition and Regulation Act, we have to deal with it in a separate webinar only, because I told Mr. Subramaniam also, because it has various aspects and the labor court and other things and the new labor laws which has been amended and brought into 4 courts, and how dangerous are they and how better certain aspects are have to be dealt with separately. So I think I have covered the points which I wanted to highlight in these 4 laws, except the child labor law. And any questions, I'm okay to answer. And thank you for this opportunity. And I think I've taken a lot of time than what has been agreed upon with Subramaniam. Sorry,
Not a
and also
problem.
thank you.
Not a problem. I think our participants would have, you know, usually the number of participants would drop by 10 or 20 numbers, but it has been above 40 throughout. So I am sure that participants have gained a lot of knowledge and experience through your webinar, ma'am. So we thank you so much. So if you have any questions, participants, you can unmute yourself and ask, or you can.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, we can hear you, Shalan. Ma'am, you're on mute,
Shalini.
ma'am.
Yes, good evening, Shaka. Please tell me.
Shalini, ma'am. I'm speaking from
Shalini,
Jammu
I'm
and
sorry.
Kashmir. I'm
Yes,
speaking from Jammu and Kashmir, ma'am. I
yes.
just wanted to know your view on the recent post case, ma'am, which happened in Pune about that juvenile which is involved, and you were mentioning about that Asifa case, that very unfortunate that girl. In fact, many steps were taken after that case, but still we have seen that many violations have been done in this recent Pune case also.
Yeah, I can only say that the state and the police and they are so insensitive, and there is no political will to deal with the cases in a very strong manner. And this is what is the politicians have awareness about the child rights, or they have not internalized the concept of the right of the child, what we have guaranteed them under the constitution, under the special laws. So much to be desired, and we can't say anything at all. It is so frustrating, and sometimes because we say that we are developing nation and we are going to become a developed nation in few sooner and all that, it is very very unfortunate. And only I think the child rights organizations and other people have to raise and demand for certain things and taking action against the people who are erring. And mainstream medias are all completely purchased by corporate groups, and reporting itself has become a market now. It is like, it is not news anymore. It is the views of groups or the conglomerates or the corporates. I'm very sad to say such a very broad lined answers, but we can't give any specific answers for such aspects which is happening.
Thank you, ma'am. But I also feel that we should have, you were saying earlier that we have enough laws to deal. and the implementation is poor at the India level. But I honestly feel at this level we need strong laws for the media also.
Yes, that's a there is a dearth of any laws or regulations. In fact, after a long legal battle, they said there should be a self-regulation by the media themselves. How can it happen? There should be a strong laws for media also for reporting in an inappropriate manner when they are reporting against the law. And no state authority is taking action against the media houses when they are reporting like this. But there are cases where in Tamil Nadu and other states, the child rights movement issue notice for them and give letters to DGP and to file FIR. The FIRs have been filed, but it will not be proceeded with at all. There are several FIRs in Tamil Nadu also have been filed about a small, some magazines where they published a name and identity of the victim child and all that. But it will be just an FIR.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It was indeed great pleasure listening to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharon.
Hello,
We
ma'am.
have Anamta Hamid.
It's Shalini.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. Uh, Anamta, you can ask your question. You've raised your hand.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah.
Please ask your
Okay.
question.
Thank you. Good evening, ma'am. It was a pleasure hearing from you on these very important topics. I just wanted to know your views or your experiences regarding this very overlooked and ignored category of children, the children who are living with their mothers, incarcerated mothers in prison, and the lack of any such policies or laws regarding their rehabilitation. So I just wanted to know your experiences as a lawyer with any of these children, or what are your views on the rehabilitation of these children who, by no fault of their own, have to spend like the prime years of their life in prison with their mothers?
Yes, it is very unfortunate for those children because there is no immediate family to take care of them. One, number two, till 5 years of age, the children are they'll be allowed to be with their mothers. And when appropriate person is not there to take care of them, it is at least it's better to be with their mother when they're very loving. And in all prisons, they have a school set up for the children who are incarcerated along with their mothers, and they have a play area and they should not be with other people all the time, and they need to be attended to, and special food and other things are there in the prison rules and their prison guidebooks and all that. So if we know specific cases where these children are not given whatever the basic requirements that has been already there in force there in the prison rules and their books, we have to fight for it. And it is all over India, it is there. And when the children who are there in their families, when they are not given enough attention or care, and they're abandoned within families and other things, we cannot question. We are not able to do anything much. Only we can put the children to CCI, childcare institutions. We know certain CCIs are, the plight of CCIs are very, very bad. And the care that need to be there for the young age and the very impressionable age has to be there, it will not be. So most of the CCIs have a policy to integrate the child with the family, to put the child back to the family, even from homes and special juvenile homes and every place. That is the primary idea of the law and the rules in JJ rules also. So integrating with the family sometimes again expose them to several manners of violations or violence against them, or putting them into care. When this is the situation, children outside in the community at large itself, we need not say what kind of a problem that children will face when they are with the incarcerated mothers with them. So it is absolutely a state responsibility. If you come to know about such cases, or if you have an opportunity to work with legal aid or something, then in your state you can apply or write and make an RTA to know how many children are there in all the central prisons of your state, and to know about their educational opportunities being given, what is the special nutritional and entertainment and leisure activities are being organized for the children can be asked. and then you can file a writ petition or a PIL in your high court. See, when we speak about all these things, we have to start working on it. That is the thing. In Tamil Nadu, whenever such cases, I have not worked with specifically with women prisoners of Tamil Nadu or anything, but we know one of my very close friend and a very respected senior advocate, where Kritika senior also, Sudha Ramlingam, was one man committee. She was engaged. She was appointed by High Court of Madras to visit all women prisons of Tamil Nadu and give report. And she has given volley of several recommendations. At least 60-50% of them have been accepted and changes have been made, from the basic provision of giving them enough number of sanitary napkins, etc., and toys for the children and all that. So we have to work on it. We have to start doing things in practice in our own respective states. This is what I want to say about this.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I totally agree with your point. Thank you so much.
We have two more people who have raised their hands. So Vasudev, you can ask your question. With that, we'll with Vasudev and Deepak, we'll end the session.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Vasudev. Please ask your question. Keep it short. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Hello, ma'am. I'm audible.
Hello. Hi. Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, the ma'am. Look, I belong to the conservative state. Like Rajasthan, Haryana is known as a conservative state. So I belong to a village. So in village, a problem I have seen is the patriarchal society we are living. So the males are against those things that we know, but the problem is our mothers, our aunties,
Grandmothers.
even they are not understanding the problem that we should encourage girl child, we should support them. Even they are having the same mindset. What are like males having? So
Yes.
like at the problem I'm talking about, at least they should support. At least they should understand that the problem which we have gone through the whole life, at least our daughter shouldn't face that. But even being a female, being a woman, even they are not understanding the problem. At least they should understand. At least they should support. If they will raise their voice, at least then I guess the daughters of them will get some support. So how can we solve this problem? How can we take some initiative on the grassroots level, on village level? What
Yes.
can be the solution?
Yes, Vasudev. So the patriarchy is a concept. It's an ideology. It doesn't belong to men. Many times the patriarchal ideologues are women also. At the same time, when feminists are not only women, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, E.V.R. Periyar, and several Raja Ram Mohan Rai, several male people were also feminists because they believe in giving equal rights to women. So when women are having their own problem, they think this is normal and they accept. So when the society itself was undergoing a slavery, when the slave lords were there and the people were enslaved, the entire community of slaves thought that we should not go against the system. Only one leader or few leaders come out and say, no, I'm a human being. I cannot be a slave anymore. So this is the concept of considering the women or girl children as equal to that of other people. So the concept of equality is something which is not only belonging to female people, women alone. When women are suffering, they feel that the suffering is justified because they say the God is destined to be a woman. So women are like this. So they do not even know that they can ask for their rights. So people like you,
Sorry for
people
interrupting.
like you should speak about it.
I'm
You
sorry
say that, yeah.
But the ma'am problem is they are accepting this, the suffering, the pain, even also in a marriage. How can we make them convince, make them understand that this is not acceptable?
Yes.
They feel
Then that is the when that is the state authorities' duty to give education to all, give equal rights to all, participating in the politics, that is in the local body governance and other places, education, health, and equal decision making authority, making the property rights equal to male and female, and allowing them to participate in the politics. There are 4 or 5 aspects which will make the women feel that they are more stronger. Even in Rajasthan, those days there cannot be any women come out of the house. Now 33% of women leaders are there. At least in that 33%, 50% of them are working on their own. Only 50% are saying, my husband will take call, my father will decide for me, my son will decide for me, kind of things. So namesake leaders are also reducing. Women are taking charge. And there are several people who have made lots of changes. See, it is not the question whether they are educated or not, whether they feel the right to be equal, right against their oppression, right against their violence against them should not be there. So men can also start speaking. If you are doing that, in your place, your sons, your or your friends, your brother, when you are able to convince your fellow men, then they will say Vasudev is the only nice man in this society. So the other people will see you as a, initially they will see you as a person who is not at all belonging to the society, and they will even ostracize you, they will put you away from their group. But later the women and other people will say he is the right man. So the correct things are not accepted always. So there should be some start. It is very difficult because you are path makers, you are path breakers, and it is not a normal thing to speak about the rights of women and equality of women. So you start from your place as a lawyer, as a student, as a whatever you are, teacher. You have to start from your place. It spreads like a wildfire, like a forest fire, and it is very easy to catch because you have lots of people to listen to because you will be their heart's voice.
Thank you
We
so
have to
much,
start
ma'am.
from wherever we are. He's not
Thank
happy,
you
I
so
know,
much.
with my answer, but Vasudev has to start from working from where he is.
Uh, all right. So we have our last question from Deepak. Deepak, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Please keep your question short. Thank you. We are running out of time.
Thank you so much for the session, ma'am, and I really appreciate it. Uh, I have a personal question. I have messaged you about it. I'm not sure I can discuss that in the open. So, if you
Yeah,
can
I've seen,
reply to
I'm just
me.
looking at your question. Yes.
Okay.
I think Mr. Subramaniam can share my email ID to you
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
so that we can meet in person and speak about this.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Appreciate it,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes. Yeah, yes, Deepak.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, we come to the end of our webinar 3 of the Child Rights and Wellbeing webinar series organized by Law Comrade. So as we draw this insightful session to a close, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Advocate B.S. Ajeetha, for her excellent speech on crime against children and their rehabilitation. Your expertise and unwavering passion for advocating women and child rights have greatly enriched our understanding of the critical issue. So, your comprehensive analysis of various laws and your practical recommendations provided invaluable insights into the challenges and solutions for protecting and rehabilitating children affected by crime. On behalf of Law Comrade and all of our participants, we thank you once again. Your knowledge and invaluable contributions to our webinar series is very important to us. And so we look forward to the possibility of welcoming you back in the future for more enlightening sessions. Thank you so much, Mana. Thank you so much for your time and patience.
Thank you.
Participants are requested to fill the feedback form of the session before leaving. Thank you so much.